Hello everyone. Bit of a different angle today. We're sitting on the floor, and that's because I stacked up all the books I read this year. Now, I measured it, it's 3 feet. Now that's a bit of an unconventional way of measuring how many books you read in a year. Actually, it is 52 in total. So that was my goal, 1 book a week, and we just snuck by on that goal. So actually I lied, there's 50 books here, and Milton's in there twice, because I read Milton twice. But Milton actually contains Paradise Lost, Paradise Regained, Comus, and Samson Agonistes. Agonistes? So if you minus one of the Miltons, it's 49, but there's actually 4 in there, so that makes 52. Because 49, that as 1, but then you add the 3 that are inside it. 52. Yes. Anyways, so my plan is to go through these rapid fire style and just determine which are the best. Now, last year I did a bracket system where you kind of do a tournament to figure out which one's the best. We're not going to pick just one winner, there'll probably be a few winners, and I didn't want to do the bracket style because then I've got to record it on the computer, and the camera on the computer is not very good, so we'll just go through them physically, which is much easier. So at the top here we've got all of our Philip Dick. Now, I read 4 Philip Dick this year. I had The Man in the High Castle, we also had The Crack in Space, The World Jones Made, and Eye in the Sky. Now, I don't want to go through 2 at a time like the bracketing system. I'll just sort of pick one per group, kind of. So out of these 4, I think my favorite Philip Dick was probably Eye in the Sky out of these 4. So I'll set these 4 aside, or set those 3 aside, and keep this one over in my winning pile over here. Next up, we've got a random group here. We have the really short group of stories, The Mark II Wife. We have The Story of Days to Come by H.G. Wells, also novella, pretty short. At the Mountains of Madness, which I just finished. And then Mythology by Edith Hamilton, which is a nonfiction. Out of these, I think Edith Hamilton's Mythology was the best. So I'll put that to the side. Next grouping here, oh, this is some tough competition. So we have Carl Jung's Man and His Symbols. We have Yukio Mishima's Sun and Steel, which, to be honest, was really bad. Sorry if you like Mishima. I did not like it. Anatomy of Criticism by Northrop Frye. Didn't make a video on this one. Just finished it the other day, so that one. And then one of my favorite reads from this year, which is why it's tough competition, and that is Shelley's Frankenstein. Very good book. Now, a little bit disappointing in the sense that I read it. It was the first book I read this year, and it was probably my favorite, and so I started off the year with my favorite book, which is not something you want to do, because then everything else in the year you're trying to top it, and you just don't. So, not recommended, but anyways, very good read. Next little grouping here, we have Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, classic, quite short. We have Beowulf, that was very good as well. Saint Augustine, depending on who you ask. Confessions, which to be honest I also didn't really like. And then Orwell's 1984. Out of that grouping, Beowulf is the best. Next grouping here, we've got Hardy, The Return of the Native, which we did for book club. Henry Mackenzie's The Man of Feeling, which was terrible. Oxford Shakespeare, Complete Sonnets and Poems. I haven't talked about this one yet because I just finished it, but there's a lot of good stuff in here. I think maybe I'll save the video on this for Valentine's Day, because a lot of the stuff in here is love poetry, so I'll probably prep a video ahead of time for that. Highlight of this was probably Venus and Adonis. Now, it was quite scandalous, kind of borderline for me. I don't like reading erotic stuff, but Shakespeare is quite tactful. He dances around the subject and he isn't crass or anything like that. So that was probably the highlight of this. And oh, I got one more here. John Keats' Complete Poems, which I also just finished. Now, out of this grouping, I would say, oh man, it's a tough one, because Keats has some really good stuff in there. I mean, I'll make a video on this one too, but some of his longer stuff, like the Jar of Basil and Otto the Great, very good. So this is a tough grouping. Oh man, probably Return of the Native, just because it's prose and it's easier to read, so we'll go with that. Next up, we have all of Goethe. At least all the Goethe I have, which is Faust parts 1 and 2. We have, which I guess you could count as 2 books if you wanted to. So that maybe I read 53. Anyways, Sorrow of Young Werther, Elective Affinities, and Man of 50. Now, out of these, I probably liked maybe Faust Part 1 the best. This translation's really good. It rhymes, and like the meter is very, I don't know what you call it, like catchy, kind of. I don't know, so I would say probably Faust Part 1 is the best of Goethe that I liked. Next grouping here, we've got Huxley's Brave New World. We've got Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass and Alice's Adventures. Oh, that reflects really bad. And then we've got Dr. Faustus, that's the play by Marlowe, which I did like. We've got two Shakespeare, Taming of the Shrew and Hamlet. Now, of course, Shakespeare's gonna blow whatever else is out of the water, right? But Taming of the Shrew or Hamlet. Now, Taming of the Shrew was quite funny. I really liked this one. However, it is just hard to beat Hamlet. It's one of Shakespeare's most famous plays for a reason, so I'll stick with that one. Next grouping here, we've got the Communist Manifesto, which we read for book club. We have the Tilliard's The Elizabethan World Picture, which is kind of like a history, literary criticism type book. We have Harold Bloom's Where Shall Wisdom Be Found? And we also have Texts and Contexts, which is a kind of introductory literary criticism book by Stephen Lynn. And I'm going to pick none of those. Next up, we've got the Gormenghast trilogy by Mervyn Peake. I did make a video about that one, and it was very good. And the best book out of this trilogy was the second one, just entitled Gormenghast. Now that was quite enjoyable, so I will stick that one in my winners pile. Next up, we got a little bit of poetry, Edgar Allan Poe and Rilke. There's Poe and there's Rilke. They were good, but to be honest, not really. People are going to hate on me for this because I know both of those poets are very good. They just didn't resonate with me particularly, so I'm going to not put those in the winning pile. Next up, we have all the C.S. Lewis and Chesterton. So I read Chesterton's Everlasting Man, which was okay. C.S. Lewis, Reflections on the Psalms. Present Concerns, which is just like a smattering of essays. Preface to Paradise Lost, which was helpful for sure. And then The Abolition of Man, which is the clear winner out of that section. Next up, we've got Don Quixote, which was quite good. And The Study of English Literature. This is another introductory English textbook. It's from 1940 or 50 or 60 or something like that. Couldn't find it on Goodreads, so it's not on my Goodreads account, but that one I did read. Next up we have Milton, and now I'm not really sure how to categorize that, but Milton, Paradise Lost is very good, so I definitely will be adding that to the best pile. And here again we come to perhaps my favorite book that I read this year, aside from Frankenstein and Paradise Lost, and that is Steinbeck's East of Eden. Incredible. This is the one I think that I read in 2024 that I would say go out and read tomorrow. So that's definitely in the winning pile. Did that one for book club as well. Second to last, we have Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. It was good, but not good enough to compete. And then I had this one which I really didn't like, Piers Plowman. Sorry, it was just too inaccessible, hard to read. So yeah, that's everything, all 52. Now, here's the winning stack here. Now let's see if we can pare this down a little bit more. So we've got Paradise Lost, East of Eden, those are for sure staying. Quixote we'll get rid of. Abolition of Man we'll get rid of. Gormenghast, you know what? This one's actually growing on me. I think I'll keep that one. Hamlet, which was of course good. But I think I'll put that one aside for now. Faust, getting rid of that. Hardy, nope. Beowulf, nope. Mythology, nope. Eye in the Sky, nope. Alright, these are my 4 best books of the year, right here. And that is, in the order I read them, Frankenstein, John Milton's Paradise Lost, Gormenghast by Mervyn Peake, just the second book, and then Steinbeck, my absolute favorite of the year, the winner, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. So yeah, that was a great year in reading. I think I'm going to shoot for maybe 75 books next year. I should have a little bit more free time next year, so hopefully I can continue to increase the amount I'm reading. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. And one more thing, I just wanted to kind of not shout out, but kind of say thanks to everybody who's been supporting the channel. I have a second YouTube channel where I make more like cultural, theological content, and that content's a little bit more divisive, I guess, so I don't get like as much support over there. But on the book channel, obviously it's like not politically or religiously charged at all, and so it's not as divisive, and as a result I get a lot more like positive feedback on this channel. So I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who watches and engages with the content. You guys are awesome, and we just passed 500 subscribers, which I wasn't sure I'd be able to do it by the end of this year. So thank you. Hopefully by the end of next year we can get to 5K. You know, 10x the number of subscribers. We'll see if it's possible. But yeah, thanks for the great year, and here's to another one. See you guys.